Hello and welcome to tonight's show.
And hello and welcome to episode 170 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers by scale modelers, all about scale models. This episode is being brought to you once again by Phil Newman, our latest Patreon supporter. You too can be just like Phil and help support the show. Simply go to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from as little as $1 per month. And don't forget, all our Patreon supporters get a free On The Bench sticker. Got a great episode planned for you this week, folks. We're going to be diving into the world of Gundam, and we're talking to two lovely female modelers. So that's coming up very shortly. But before we do that, let's have a quick word from our very good sponsor, SMS Paints.
Hi, I'm Scott, the creator and owner of the Scale Modeler Supply, Australia's largest manufacturer of hobby paints. Our premium airbrush-ready acrylic lacquer paints are designed specifically for use on plastics, with a comprehensive range covering all popular modelling subjects including military, aircraft, rail, auto, sci-fi and more. And not only that, but we also have a wide selection of essential hobby tools and now, infinite colour, and new range of water-based paints for miniatures. So to check out our range and to find your closest retailer, please visit our website at scalemodeler.com.au. So when quality matters, choose SMS Paints.
And hello and welcome to the show. And in the studio with me, I've got Ian.
G'day Dave, g'day Julian, g'day listeners.
And Julian, of course.
Good morning.
Gentlemen, how have we been since the last episode?
Good.
Excellent.
Nice and relaxed.
Yes.
So I managed to finish off the Missouri build from your neighbour.
Oh, that's good.
So that's done.
It's all done and dusted now.
Done and dusted.
Perfect.
The only thing I didn't do was I didn't put the photo etch main radar. I used the plastic one. Because it was stainless steel and the curves they wanted me to get out of it was basically nearly impossible.
Now, which kit was this again?
That's the old Tamiya kit.
All right, okay.
So it's the 1991 Gulf War fit out.
Right, but you got the railings and everything on it though, haven't you?
No.
Oh, you didn't put the railings on
Out
it?
of box.
Okay.
Out of box, no weathering.
Yep. So he's happy with it?
Oh, he's wrapped.
Oh, excellent.
He's wrapped. He's sitting there. He goes, "Oh, I've got something else you might want to build." And he gets his box. It's nearly a metre long. I go, "What's in there?" And he opens it up and it's the Queen Elizabeth II. Big, massive 3D print with these big metal rods that hold it all together.
What do you teach him?
Holy moly!
Just
I am
teach him to build himself.
I am. That's it.
Yeah.
I've gotten him some basic tools.
Yep.
He's getting himself a desk, and I'm going to teach him how to build his own ships.
Perfect.
Saves me from having to build them for him.
Yeah.
So then, once that was done, I've made a start on my next project.
Yep.
So I've finally bitten the bullet and grabbed one of my Edward Spitfires.
Oh, okay. You start one of them.
Yes, I've started all the main sub-assemblies of I'm doing a 1939 pre-war Spitfire. Flat canopy, two-bladed propeller.
Oh, wow, okay.
Low visibility markings.
Yep.
Black and white undersurfaces. It's a kit decals. PMN, I think, is the serial on the side.
That's an interesting subject for you to do. I wouldn't have pegged you to want to build one of them.
Well, you did buy the kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but you know.
I'm actually thinking about buying another one of those dual combo early Spitfire because there's a couple of other versions they got in their decal sheets that look quite interesting. They're slightly different. Like I think one might be a night fighter because it's got the little metal panels just on the top of the guards, just behind the engine exhausts.
I stopped the glare from
Stop
the
the
exhaust.
glare. Yeah. So,
very nice.
So far it's going together absolutely wonderful. It's a brilliant little kit. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
So get that one knocked out. I'll probably do two just to get rid of the box.
Going back to the Spitfire, the early version, is that got a camouflage pattern with it, or is it overall silver?
No, it's camouflaged.
Okay.
So it's standard dark earth, dark green.
Right, okay.
But black and white undersurfaces.
Yep, fair
No
enough.
roundels on the bottom wings.
Mm.
So
Just nice and simple for you then.
it'd be very nice and simple. The only thing is going to be I've got to do is before I put the actual low vis markings on is get my circle cutter and then do a slight different shade of the brown and green
Right.
on the outside of the markings where they painted over.
Yep.
The original yellows.
Oh, I get you.
Yeah. So that shouldn't be too hard. The old circle cutter does a good job.
Does. Julian, what have you been up to?
Just chugging away at my
Cars.
cars. Yes.
Cars. It's so funny because, back in the olden days when we were doing this, we used to get accused of not being car builders. And here's you being a prolific car builder at the moment.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, there's lots of. I'm just going through the same sort of thing I went through with aircraft, basically, where it's like, there's all these sort of various skills and sort of tripping points that I just got to go over and over until I've learnt my lessons.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why chopping and changing your subjects is really good.
Yeah.
Because it forces you to use skills you normally wouldn't use.
Yeah.
Which you can then pass on to other projects.
Even just painting the body in the colour that it is, it's like, okay, I get it now. You paint it in a matte colour and then you do your clear coat as the gloss. You don't have to gloss everything in between.
No. As long as the top coat's clear.
Yes.
That gives you a nice shine.
Yeah, it works better when you're doing if you have to paint like more than one colour.
So you'll be our resident expert, or are a resident expert in clear coats.
I guess so. But I mean, just clear coats for other types of models are not the same as clear coats for cars.
No, it's a different.
It's like you have to pay attention to lay on more clear coat over areas that you have to, like sort of like raised features that you have to polish out because you're going to run more risk of burning through in those areas when you go to polish it.
When you do your clear coat, do you, I gather you do, 2-3 coats of clear?
I'm not really counting that much. I've sort of just got like a running sort of idea of how much I'm laying down.
Yep. Because I remember when I was a young whippersnapper, I used to have an after-school job working for the local panel beater, and he taught me that especially with cars, when you're doing your final clear coats, is the first coat you tint with the original colour you put in, and it gives you a much deeper colour.
What, like 5-10%?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then as you put in your final clear coats on, that's when you go just pure clear.
Right.
I haven't done that, and I probably won't.
If you don't need to, because you just use basic colours, don't you?
For the most part,
Yeah.
There are some plants that do other things, but I'm not a big fan of a lot of the metallics out there because they kind of just look like glitter.
Yeah, they just don't have the fine enough metallic particles in them.
Oh, there's a host of great metallics out there. I love metallics.
I do have some to do,
Yeah.
and I'll do them. But that'll be interesting. One of them's a very specific color that I had to buy from Zero or one of those types of companies.
Zero Gravity.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
That's like a very dark sort of metallic blue color, and then over it will go like these chrome decals.
And what car is this?
It's it's like a resin modded version of the it's Mercedes AMG race car.
Oh, right, yep.
The Tamiya kit.
Nice. Still wait, you should do a muscle car one day.
Yeah, but the muscle car kits are so crap.
Well, what about the latest Australian ones?
Those ones. Yeah, I'll probably get to those at some point. Well, all the AMT kits. And same with most of the like Revell and you look at them, and what's really apparent, the chrome work around the windows is so overscale. Like it's like 5 times bigger than it really should be.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yep.
It looks so clunky, you know.
Plus the fit in those old kits is pretty horrendous too, and the details, especially when you open the engine bays. Because got to watch Julian's mate on YouTube, and
Oh yeah.
and this guy was I can't remember what car it was, but the guy actually made the proper bonnet hinges, working bonnet hinges, like correct as they should be on that car. He was doing a Mustang. It might not have been your mate. It was some guy doing a Mustang.
Yeah, well,
And it was,
a lot of people on YouTube just have to perform to his level. Otherwise
and it was just insane the amount of work this guy went in. Like, did all the ribbing on the inside of the engine lid and then the trunk lid, and and cutting the doors out and then building the inside frame, and it was just amazing. Like, and I know that kid. I've got a few of those old, I think it's Revell I think it's the Revell Mustangs, the 65, 66, and I was just watching them going, yeah, I should really get back into one of my 65, 66 Mustangs.
Or he could have cheated and just 3D printed it.
No.
Well,
no. In that retrospect, I'm more in the lines of our good friend Paul Budzik, that something like that you want to scratch build. You don't want to go too far. It just pushes you to that extra bit.
well, you can't 3D print everything.
No.
So like the guy that I watched, like the most recent one of them, the car
Mind you,
that he's currently on.
I said cheat with my tongue firmly in my cheek.
yeah. Like the car that he's currently working on is a Lotus Esprit, like the one that I built like last year. And of course he's going the whole hog. Like he's made an engine to put in it.
Yep.
From nothing, and then on top of that, he's cut out, because to access the engine, you have to open up the rear hatch.
Yes.
And then there's like a little cover, like a bulge in the center of what you think is where the boot or trunk of the car would be.
Right.
And so you open that thing up, and there's the engine there. So he's got the engine, and he's got the cover off, and then to access it, he's cut out the hatch, and he's put in his own hinges.
Yep.
And gas struts
He's
to hold it open.
So he's actually made working gas struts.
In the sense that like it just uses friction to stay up kind of thing. But yeah, basically, yeah.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, because he just uses the aluminium tube and then puts one rod inside the tube to act as a gas strut.
Yep.
But he still has to fashion all the little hinging parts of it on either end.
Mm-hmm. That reminds me of that guy going around on Facebook where he built that aircraft, that passenger aircraft, all out of paper, remember? And all the landing gear and all that all sort of worked and everything and folded up.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember seeing one guy make a, I think it was making a tractor or something like that, and he made it out of PVC pipe.
I'm just in
and it just blew me away. This guy just gets normal PVC pipe, heats it up, cuts it, bends it to shape and grinds it down, and it was amazing.
I'm just in awe of people who can do that. Yep.
They got lots of skills.
They have lots of skills. They do indeed.
And also this Lotus kit, when I built it, I built it with the pop-up headlights down, right? And you have the option of picking the headlights up version. Well, that wasn't good enough for him. So he scratch-built hinges and made like an actual lever that actuates it. And so the headlights really go up and down.
Oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool. I like that.
You just look and you're like, jeez, throw the towel kind of thing. Nah. So you just have to make peace with the fact that you'll never be on his level.
I don't know, you just keep practicing.
Yeah.
No. No, by the time you get to his level, he'll be dead.
Well, we'll be dead because he's probably younger than us.
Yeah, I don't know how old he is. I just assume that he's older than me because everyone's older than me.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Yep.
That's not true anymore, though. We've got some people in our club that are younger than me now.
Yes. You're not the youngest one anymore.
No, it was bound to happen eventually.
Yeah, it's bound to happen eventually.
Time marches on.
It does. Yes. Yeah. And time is certainly left its mark on you.
Yeah.
Oh. Boom.
I know that more than anyone. Yeah, the creaky bones and stuff.
I thought it was my chair. It's your bones.
Well, it's not my eyes because my eyes are still good.
Oh, you wait, you hit 50 and it's just like someone throwing a switch.
Yeah, it is.
Probably.
This is how my eyes went. So, I'm sitting at work and I was 49, no problems, and suddenly I hit 50 and I go to work and go, something with the computer screen. Oh, get home and get a computer at home and, oh my God, my screen's dying. And it just got slowly worse and worse and worse. And then, you pick up something to read something and you have to hold it back a little bit. And I think, maybe I better go get my eyes checked. And sure enough, need reading glasses. Mm-hmm. But it was like someone actually threw a switch and it was click.
So like sometimes I've had in the past I've had like sort of moments where it's similar to that, where I've gone, hang on, is that my vision deteriorating? And it's like, oh no, it's not.
Oh, you're lucky.
Because it's sort of like I've always had very good vision where I was like, oh yeah, I can read that fine print from all the way over here, kind of thing.
Yep.
And I am wary of where that starts, where it's like, okay, now instead of reading it, you're just inferring what you think it might be.
Yeah, that's a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
Right? If you start inferring, that's where you start.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I'm aware of that's where it starts. Mm. So if I ever find myself like trying to read the text on something that's just like a meter away, that's in fine print, it's like, well, I could do that, and it's like, well, if I ever get to the point where I can't, well, then I know that my vision is
gone,
diminishing.
Yep. Yes.
Well.
Yeah. Chris Becker. His wife is optometrist. Yeah, and she regularly checks his eyes, and he said that his eyes have gotten worse since he started modelling.
But hang on, wait a minute. Just back that horse up a second. So you're saying that modelling has led to his eyes deteriorating, or is it the fact that age and you have to be modelling during that time period?
Yeah. I don't know, and I don't know. I mean, like it's not like we got a second Chris Becker that we could compare him to.
Chris Becker, can you send us an email on the bench 64@gmail.com to either confirm or deny this rumor that modelling has caused your eyesight to perish?
Well, I mean, like I said, like how are you going to know if it's like the only way is that you've had two modelers that were twins, and you had one who was modelling and one that wasn't, right? And then you go, well, his eyes are worse than the other one, so then that means it's having an effect.
Actually, we do know
you need to have your control
who are modelers.
Control group.
So John and his brother.
Yeah.
But they both model though.
Yeah, there you go. That doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No.
All right.
So what you need to do is find quintuplets or something, and then hope that one of them doesn't model.
Yeah.
See, in the back of my mind, I used to think if I wear glasses, it'll make my eyes worse.
I think that is a thing.
And that's why I hate going to the optometrist to get new glasses, because every 2 years I go, you're going to sit in a chair and have it redone again. And, oh, God. And so you sit in the chair and they do all that stuff where you,
I'll tell you what.
And then they say, you need to go up to the next level. I'm going, for God's sakes. Is it because I'm using the glasses that makes me... No.
I'll tell you something.
What?
So, my mum's side of the family is Filipino, right?
Yep.
I've met because my grandmother on that side's dead. I've met her sister, who's still alive. Mm. And she lives out in middle of nowhere, like where my mum's family's originally from. Mm. And she can thread a needle unaided. No glasses, nothing. She doesn't have glasses. She's in her 90s.
That's pretty impressive.
Wow, yeah.
That's good eyes.
That's just good luck or good genes.
No. She's grown up without watching TV or looking at monitors or any of that.
Ah, yes.
Even now, she doesn't. And, like the kind of lifestyle that she lives is completely away from like modern civilization almost.
Like, living on the farm. Rural.
Like when she was sleeping at the circled family house where it sort of replaced the old family house that we have down in this rural area. She slept on the kitchen floor, which is tiles on concrete slab, right? And the only thing between her and those tiles was cardboard.
Oh, what? There you go. If you don't want to have bad eyes, sleep on a hard concrete floor with cardboard as a mattress.
And it's not like we haven't tried to get her to sleep on a proper bed. It's just like that. That's the lifestyle that she's used to.
Yep.
Again, as usual.
Sitting away.
And when she gets up at the crack of dawn, and then she'll cook all day, all the way through till like 8 at night, and the food is just like this non-stop like conveyor belt of food. It's ridiculous.
You must have a lot of fat people in your family, dude.
Nah, it's I don't know. I mean, I think it's because like when I was there, it was like an event kind of thing.
Oh,
right?
yep,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah, and when I say
And if you say no, you're in big
and
big
the
trouble.
food wasn't cooked on electric or gas; it was wood fire.
Oh, God.
So that's why it took so long.
That's impressive.
Back in my day, I used to walk 5 miles to go to school.
Really?
Yeah.
I used to catch a bus.
No.
I wasn't going to bloody walk.
Catch a bus. Back in my day, there was no such thing as a bus.
Oh, get real.
Well, we've wandered off the subject of topic again, as usual.
Yeah, but it is very like eyesight is a big.
It is a big thing in modelling, absolutely, 100%. And I don't think we can. I don't know.
Yeah, but she grew up without modelling, so there's that, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's all the proof you need, Dave.
Where's the mute button, please? Where's the mute? I've had a very unproductive week because I've been sick as a dog. I've got this lurgy that's really knocked me for 6. So
As long as you don't pass it on.
no, I haven't passed it. Oh, that reminds me, I haven't taken my medicine this morning either.
Oh, God. Is that
By
why
the way, when you say knocked me for 6, that's a cricket reference
Yes.
Yes,
for our American listeners.
and lurgy it means like a bad
flu.
cold or flu. Well, it's not the flu; it's a cold.
Bad cold.
Yeah, there's a chest cold. It was a nasty one.
yeah,
Nasty
so
one.
knocked me for 6. It's like the equivalent of a
Hitting
home
it-
run.
Or hitting it out of the ballpark.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
How about we have a short break? We'll come back and we will maybe have a listen to or look at some listener mail. How's that
Sounds
sound?
like a plan.
All right, back very shortly.
Hey guys, it's Chris at Inside the Armour Publications. I'd like to tell you about our summer sale. For the month of August, you can get 20% off any purchase. Just enter Summer 23 at checkout. The sale covers everything we sell, from Tetra PE sets and details to the incredible 148 Wingsy kits, aircraft kits. From your Master Hobby ship kits to all our books, including ebooks and the models from Ukraine books. So grab an outstanding book, kit or detail set with a full 20% off at www.insidethearmour.com. And don't forget that promo code SUMMER23.
All right, we're back. Let's have a look at some mail that's popped in. The first one that I'm going to dive into is Lee Edmonds. He wrote in actually to the last show, but I missed the email, unfortunately.
Oh,
So
did you now?
My apologies, Lee. I'm sorry about that, mate. But never mind, here we are now. And he writes in, Dear gents, another interesting and fun episode as usual. How do you manage to keep it up? Well, shucks, mate, I don't know.
Coffee.
Lee's actually referring to our discussion on first, second, third versus gold, silver, bronze.
Yep.
And he wrote, while it seems that the first, second and third in gold, silver, bronze are polar opposites, your discussion showed that perhaps they are two sides of the same coin. Did you not forget the other two options? The NNL, which is apparently common in vehicle modelling community and displays that don't include competition. And I'll just pause there. So NNL, that's where you don't have formal judges as such, but you have either the other guys who've entered the competition go and judge each other's models and rank them or give them a
All
score.
right, yep.
Or you actually have the people who come into the show, the foot traffic
Yep,
to
yep.
do that.
So what they think looks best.
Yeah. Yep. And that's as I understand it, Lee. I might be wrong. And of course, the other option is that you don't have a competition at all. You just have a big display festival where you put all the models on the table and just display them. So are these two options so radical as to not warrant a discussion also? Well, it's not that we didn't consider them. I guess it's because the two guests that we had were mainly coming from the AMP style and also
The IPMS style, yeah.
So but good point, Lee. We should have picked up on them. It continues on. If you follow Ian's statement that we put on competitions, displays, whatever, to promote the hobby, aren't these other two options, that's NNL and non-competition, also valid ways of promoting the hobby to the public? From what both your participants said, I gather that holding competitions is very demanding on resources such as manpower and money for awards.
Correct.
So why go to all that trouble when NNL or not holding a competition would reduce that problem significantly? Well, and that's true. And in fact, I do know there's quite a few Aussie competitions that do NNL, and also not too many that are just display that sort of that I can think of off the top of my head. And I couldn't speak for the rest of the world, so who knows. But anyway, thanks very much,
good
Lee.
points. Yeah,
And
very
again,
good points.
apologies for the late reading of that one, but that's okay. We got you there in the end. Martin Holst writes in, "G'day fellas, greeting from the other end of the world. I'm a regular listener since I restarted the hobby in 2022. I'm 55 years old and live in the Netherlands.
Ah,
On and off, I've posted some of my work on your bench Facebook
I have.
bench.
Yes, I
you may
remember seeing this
recall.
stuff. Yes.
I just listened to episode 169 and enjoyed every minute of it. Same goes for the family bonus episode on Warhammer. What I liked about Warhammer episode is that it's just yet another example of how you keep branching out and include all kinds of genres as topics. I really like that. It's not only very entertaining, but also creates new perspectives and generates new ideas. Very well done.
Thank you.
And then came the episode 169 with special guest Clayton Lockerbie. Well, with a name like that, you're going to be good to go, aren't you? He's actually a murder mystery character, is he not, with a name like that? Or is he the man for hire to investigate modelling mysteries, maybe? I'm thinking book titles. Clayton Lockerbie and the ghost scene that came from nowhere. Or Clayton Lockerbie. Clayton Lockerbie. And the
Say that 3 times quickly.
No, it'd be like Beetlejuice. He'll pop up.
Or Clayton Lockerbie and the curious case of the silvering decal. Anyway, I digress. I really like the point about IPMS International that was discussed briefly. It's where somebody wrote in and suggested that we have an international overarching
Governing body.
No, not governing body, guiding body, I think. It was discussed briefly. I feel the future of IPMS really lies in a firm global online presence, offering some kind of platform with resources like tutorials, articles, and maybe some kind of integration with Scalemates, video content in cooperation with some good YouTubers. I realise that this may not be easy, but I strongly feel that it is the key to a healthy IPMS future. Oh, and introduce gold, silver, bronze as well as soon as possible. I'm seeing some very talented modelers on the online Instagram and Facebook. Also, if you look at the amount of followers some YouTube modelers have, you can tell the fan base is there. Just look at Bowley Hobby Time and Plasmo, for example. They have 700 to 800,000 plus followers. So the potential modelers are definitely out there. Lastly, I just want to thank you. I hope you realise that your work means a lot to many modelers. Personally, I can say that sitting on the bench and listening to podcasts such as yours and some of the other modelling podcasts somehow creates connection, if you will. For someone like me who has restarted the hobby after a very long pause, it was very welcoming and inclusive. Not only do I learn a lot, enabling me to become a better modeler, but more importantly, it instantly made me feel part of the modelling community. In fact, this may seem funny as we have never met in person, but I now consider you friends. So thanks for all that you do for the hobby and keep those podcasts coming. Cheers from Holland. That's Martin Holst. Well, thank you very much.
Well, and in his home tongue, Dunkerwell.
Oh, well, there you go. Will Edwards writes in, "Hi guys, just a shout out to Roden. I recently opened up my 1/72 scale Albatross W4 kit to find that a complete sprue, the fuselage, was missing.
Oh, so I've had that before.
I emailed them with the current issues over there. I was not expecting a quick response, if none at all. To my surprise, they emailed me back within 12 hours, and a month later, I had the parts in my hands.
Oh, great.
I don't care what anyone says. It's service like this that will see me going to buy their kits again and again and again. I have 35 in the stash, he whispers. A lot of model companies could learn a thing or two, and that's not factoring in a conflict. Yeah, that's true too. To all, go out and buy a Roden kit. I'm talking to you, Julian, and keep up. the good work.
I have a rodent kit. I have a rodent kit in the stash.
Thanks, Will.
That's from Will.
I've built one bad rodent kit, and I've got one good one in the stash.
But the thing with rodent kits is some of their box art is just amazing.
It is.
I mean, there's one that brings it. It's a German. I think it's an Opel truck in the Western Desert, and it's like all four wheels off the ground with a P40 coming in behind it. It's just really cool action box art.
Well, it's and I think we've spoken this in the past about how companies sort of look after their customers. I mean, I've had a horror story of a dragon, which I never sort of got fixed at all.
Was that your carrier?
Yeah, I think it was. It was my carrier. That's right. And they just never got back to me. Well, they kept acknowledging my emails, but just refused to send me. Or just didn't engage with me at all and send me the bit that was missing out of the box. And Airfix, they have a very good policy on fixing that. So, I think sometimes it's potentially the language barrier that causes issues. But by and large, it's good to see that there are companies out there such as Roden and Airfix, and indeed I'm sure there's other ones as well.
Well, I remember
that will support them, the hobbyists by if something's missing or broken, we'll replace it.
Well, I remember buying a Great Wall Hobby Devastator, and that was missing its fuselage.
Oh, okay.
The sprue of the fuselage was missing.
Okay.
Now I bought it through B&A.
Yeah.
So I just went straight back to them, and they said, and B&A, they're funny like that. They go, can you send us a photo of the missing part? It's like, how? So I just took a photo of the box and everything out there and just said, look, this a picture of the guys with the road instructions. I think the first page shows all the sprues. And I took a photo of that and circled what was missing and showed them the photo of everything out of the box. But
they looked after you though, didn't they?
They did, yeah. They sent me down there.
Yeah.
But we're in a slightly unique position, I think, aren't we? Because we're covered by the Australian law, but the retailer has to fix that.
Correct.
Whereas most other, I think, I don't know about most other countries. Maybe it's the same here as it is in Europe, but in the United States, at least, I think it's the burden is on the manufacturer, right?
Yeah.
Not so much the retailer. Something along those lines.
That sucks.
Next email comes from Alan Hughes, who writes, "Hi guys, just wondering if you finished ICM's Model T 1917 Anzac. It was mentioned on one of the earlier podcasts. I think hoping to start this kit shortly. Not something I'd normally do, but love the idea of it. Ian, that's more in your wheelhouse."
I built the ICM. Was it like the long range, the patrol? Yeah, the LCP.
Right. Okay.
And what a great kit! I mean, what a fantastic little kit. That was so much fun. And I can't remember off the top of my head, but I do know in Russia there's a company that does a photo etch set for it, which I purchased before all this Ukraine stuff happened, so I could actually get it out of Russia.
Yeah.
And that gave me working bonnet hinges, and so I could lift the lid up and correctly, and it's you're going to love building it. You really are, Alan. It's such a great kit.
There you go. Good recommendation from Ian. So please post some pictures to our Facebook group called On Your Bench.
Yeah, we'd love to see it.
I'd love to have a look at it and see how you go. Paul Gallagher writes in, "Hi Dave, Ian and Julian. I found the podcast back in 2021 when I was getting back into the hobby, and you have been faithful workbench buddies all the way.
Cool.
I keep meaning to mail my thanks and appreciation, but I'm always thinking maybe after a few more builds when I have something useful to contribute. It's ironic that the episode 167, 123 versus gold, silver, bronze cage match episode is
we needed some folding chairs for that one.
Is what prompts me to write, because I'm not really into competitions, and you also managed to bring it home with a very conciliatory, same but different conclusion. But I thought I'd share a personal perspective coming from more of an outside of the tent point of view. I recently considered travelling to a regional competition with 123 judging. They had a long list of categories with detailed requirements, but I was disappointed to discover that nothing I'd recently built seemed to fit a category, and queries to the organisers didn't help. I'm a pretty eclectic builder, so this was a surprise. Ultimately, I decided not to go as I wasn't able to participate in full, and I was definitely picking up a "your model's not welcome here" kind of vibe.
Oh.
I couldn't help thinking that if the competition had been set up as gold, silver, bronze, without the detailed requirements on the categories, I would have been there in spades. This is how judging style can make a difference, and your conversation circled around it, but I don't think it really highlighted the issue. In the extreme, gold, silver, bronze does not require any categories. Just bring what you've made and it can be judged on its merits. In other words, it is inherently inclusive. Although the AMP style is more restrictive, it is in the name anyway, but there is potential there. With 1, 2, 3, an inordinate amount of effort seems to go into arguing the rules, designing the categories, organising splits, etc., etc. Which is necessary because everyone needs 1, 2, 3 to be fair, applies a fair apples-to-apples competition. But it does mean that if you don't build a category, the best one you can hope for to battle it out is in the miscellaneous, and hopefully the organisers will recognise this in time and eventually carve out new categories. In other words, it is inherently exclusive, dare I say, gatekeeping. If one of the objectives of the show is to remain relevant in any evolving hobby landscape and engage a broader, younger community, then gold, silver, bronze competition can more easily adapt to the changing tastes and interests simply based on who shows up, while 1, 2, 3 will always be one step behind and require brave pioneers to break down the barriers and establish new categories. I don't hear this inclusive, exclusive distinction getting much attention in discussions of judging styles. Maybe I'm missing something, so I'm interested in what you think. Thanks for all your effort you put into the podcast and keeping us all company on the bench. That's Paul from Singapore. P.S. Eclectic builder? ? I challenge you to categorise it all in my Instafeed.
All right, let's have a look at his Instafeed. Let's see what he builds.
But
right.
and see, there's a lot of stuff there that he builds that is I can't see why it wouldn't hit some of the categories. I mean, he's got looks like 1/700 scale ships. Aircraft, prop,
some diorama
stuff, and oh my god, that one there with the guy standing in. It's a bicycle propped up against the wall with graffiti is absolutely sensational. And in any day of the week, I reckon that could win an award in itself.
Yeah, that one there is like the sort of what's that urban
landscape, yeah,
kind of a thing, yeah, with the bike.
Yeah.
That's the most sort of miscellaneous kind of thing I think I've seen.
I know at Model Expo there's definitely spots for every single thing I've seen so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like miscellaneous is just the sort of dumping ground for like a lot of things that can't be categorized, right?
Yeah.
And I think a few of his things would definitely.
There's some very nice builds in there too.
I know, and Paul, I feel your pain about miscellaneous builds because I'm a real space builder at the moment, and going to my local hobby show in Melbourne, they always end up in miscellaneous.
Yeah.
At least you win a lot on the category.
No, I get beaten by things like
post
cupcakes and post office boxes. So I mean, not to say that those weren't worthy enough.
Oh, they were. That post box was brilliant.
Yeah. So
one day it won't be there to beat you because it'll have its own category for other post boxes.
But I get what Paul's saying, and yeah, it's okay, very funny. I get what Paul's saying, and he does raise the point. And this is what the underlying thing about the gold, silver, bronze is that you're not competing against other models. You're competing against yourself because you're judging the model is being ranked against itself under a system.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Whereas 1, 2, 3, you're judging against other models. So you could have an entire show where there's no categories whatsoever using that gold, silver, bronze.
The IPMS style, it does sort of herd all the modelers into categories. Like if you want to win, then you have to build to the category, and it sort of makes you go, okay, well, this is what's expected of an aircraft, so I'm going to build my aircraft this way.
But wait, stop. Can I please interrupt you there? because the only reason why they have categories like that, because the build quality of, under IPMS rules, the build quality of a single-engined aircraft prop is no different from a multi-engine prop aircraft. You're still looking for the same faults under the IPMS system, aren't you?
Right.
The only reason they categorise them in that is, I don't know, it looks better.
I think it comes down probably to judging, because otherwise you're going to find that the judges are going to, rather than have like 148 scale single engine prop, you average show maybe 50 kits. Then you've got twin prop, probably about another 30 kits. Now, if you bundle them all together, that's 80 kits. That's going to be an absolute freaking nightmare for the judges to get through. Thus, they got to, in my opinion, they've got to break it up into different sections.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, as a note, I'm not, denouncing IPMS.
Oh, not at all.
Judging in the slightest. I'm saying that the categorizing sort of is the kryptonite to say free form modeling, if you know what I mean, right? Like if you wanted to just go off road and just start wherever you feel like. Oh, you start with a car model. Okay, well, how about I build a base to put it on, and maybe I'll add a figure or something else, and then maybe I like the base and I want to remove the car, and then it's like, oh well, where is it now, and where does it go? And like if you look at there's been some discussion online, with regards to and I didn't necessarily agree with it. People use the Shizuoka show as an example, but what I disagreed with was the fact that they were cherry picking the kind of models, because people were using those photos of that show as examples of, oh, look how many models are on bases. It's like, yeah, but they aren't showing the hundreds of Gunpla models that were at that show. Yeah, because they're not interested. Basis. They went there as a Western modeler who's interested in aircraft and tanks and stuff like that, and they took only photos of those subjects.
And Shizuoka is not a competition as such, is it?
No, there's no competition there. It's just all display.
Yep.
And there's like students area, and then there's like all the various clubs and things, and there's lots of different stuff, and it's a very free form feeling,
Because I know with the last Nationals there was a big hoo-ha about picking up models.
Oh yeah, geez, hasn't that been a story online?
That's been a massive story online, and like here at Melbourne Model Expo, they do pick up the models, but it's under very strict circumstances, and they all have to wear cotton gloves. But I suppose different strokes for different folks. People just have different ways of doing it. If you're going to an international show, you just got to
follow their rules.
Follow their rules. As simple as that.
All right, Paul, look what you've done. You've kicked off a huge discussion now.
well done, mate. To be fair, our episode kicked off a huge discussion.
Well, that's true.
And it's ongoing.
Yep. And it will continue to be ongoing.
And it didn't help that that episode came shortly before the US Nationals.
Yes. It was well timed, wasn't it?
Yep.
I had nothing to do with it. It was just pure luck. Okay. Here we go. This is a really good one. Good friend Mark Casiglia.
Casiglia?
Casiglia.
Casiglia.
You speak Italiano.
Yes.
Jeez.
He writes, hi, Dave, Ian and Julian. Not sure if you three musketeers ever considered a fourth musketeer, but Clayton's appearance on your last pod felt and sounded so blended and natural that I forgot he was a guest and not a co-presenter. His knowledge base didn't compete with yours, but it complemented it by adding extra dimension, which gave the episode even more depth than usual. This would be way off the mark and of no interest to either of you blokes or Clayton, but from the listener's point of view, I know what fits my ear and what doesn't, and this absolutely did. That's cheers, guys, from Mark.
Oh, hang on, and he's got a pronunciation, so it's Casiglia.
Yeah, or the Italian, Casiglia.
Yes, Casiglia.
And Mark, really appreciate that feedback, and I think
Clayton's probably got enough on his plate with his podcast, with his YouTube channel.
Yeah, look, I know that Clayton would be more than happy to sort of pop in, but the reason why that show worked so well was because he was actually in the studio with us for one.
Yeah.
We've got some history with Clayton as well.
Oh, do we ever?
And and look, it'd be nice to have him on as a regular. So maybe we can sort of get him in just via Zoom or something like that, rather than
if he's not too busy.
If he's not too busy.
Yeah, yeah, certainly if he's ever down here again.
Oh, absolutely.
Like anytime he's down here,
Well,
he's welcome on, right?
If we're up there, because
that too, yeah.
have recording equipment, we'll travel. Well, of course, we're going to catch up with him when we go to
November.
The November
ACT.
Indeed, and what a great sort of segue into it. So we have the 2023 Scale ACT show, which is happening on the 11th and 12th of November at Thoroughbred Park. It's going to be Australia's friendliest scale model show with competition and general display. All skill levels and ages are welcome. Expert how-to workshops, multiple vendors on site, food and parking on site, as well as a swap and sell. If you want further information, just Google 2023 Scale ACT.
And what's the dates of that date?
And the 11th and 12th of November.
Right.
2023.
Lovely.
And while I'm on that, there is also the South Australian Scale Model Expo, which is coming up. And let me quickly.
It's in October, isn't it?
It is in October. The 7th and 8th of October, location at the John Dunning Centre, which is near the Prince Alfred College in Deckwittville Terrace, Kent Town, South Australia. I'm going to be there. Ian might be there.
I might be there.
Julian's definitely not going to be there. No. But anyway, pop in and say g'day.
Yeah.
Of course, we're looking forward to catching up with all our good mates from South Australia.
Definitely.
And if you've never been to a show before, please consider either going to the South Australian Model Expo 2023 or indeed the ACT one and enter for the first time. Even if you're just popping a model on the table, not to be judged, just drop it in.
Or even just show up, just have a look.
100%.
There's some amazing work on the table there.
Yep, there sure are. And I believe this weekend there's one on in Queensland as we speak.
Oh, that's already been, I think. Or is it going? It might be on at the moment.
I don't know.
Yeah, the QHME or something.
So that's a good point to bring up too. If you do have a model show that you want us to promote, send us an email on thebench64@gmail.com.
And that doesn't just mean Australian shows.
Correct.
We will promote any show, anywhere, anytime.
On thebench64@gmail.com. Send us the details of the show. We're happy to give it a shout out. And also, if you want to send us an email, you can send an email to onthebench64@gmail.com. We love hearing and talking to you. All right, gents, I think we'll have a quick break and we'll be back very shortly.
The Models from Ukraine podcast brings you all the latest news and views from the model manufacturers of Ukraine and the modelers that support them. With interviews including Mini Arts, ICM, Armory Models, ResKit, Dora Wings, Ace Model and many more, you can find out what some of the best model companies in the world are doing and how you can help them and Ukraine. Check out the Models from Ukraine podcast on your podcast app of choice or at modelsfromukraine.buzzsprout.com.
Okay, and the latest news coming from the Falcon starts off, first of all, with aircraft news. And the Falcon writes in, Zvezda are rumoured to be releasing a 148 scale kit of the Kamov Ka-52 Alligator attack helicopter, said to be scheduled for release in late 2023. The Z guys will be very excited about this kit. Miniart have shown the latest CAD renders for the forthcoming 148 scale P-47. The kit depicts a P-47D-25RE. The online P-47 experts are saying it is looking very, very good and will surpass a Tamiya P-47 kit.
It does look very nice. Can't
say I would expect anything different from Miniart, says the Falcon. Border models are adding to their controversial range of 135th scale aircraft with a Spitfire Mark VB.
5B.
Thank you. Apart from the fact that it is 35th scale, people are also complaining about the inaccurate cockpit and numerous other deficiencies. Too many to list here.
Yeah, they've been really giving it a caning online. Yeah, I've been following it a bit.
Special Hobby have shown the wing sprues for their 48 scale Martin A30 Baltimore Mark 1-2 project. The last sprue reveal was something like 9 months ago.
Wow.
They have a lot of kit projects going on at Special Hobby, and it seems the Baltimore isn't a high priority. Clearly, it's coming, but it's going to be a while yet. It's already known that Edward would be announcing a new 72nd scale aircraft kit at the upcoming E-Day this September. Edward Kingpin Vad Sulik dropped a clue on the Czech forum as to what the subject might be. Quote, "It will bear stars, cockades and crosses too," end quote. Yes, that covers a lot of things, but at least now you have a starting point for some wild speculation. TACOM have announced another boxing of their 35th scale Apache helicopter. The new kit will be the AH-64D Block 2 late version. I wonder if that's going to be the one that the Aussies are getting.
Don't know.
I'm not sure. Meng have just announced a 48 scale kit of China's J-20 Mighty Dragon stealth fighter. Meng have shown a ton of CAD renders which show positionable control surfaces and flaps, detailed weapon and gear bays, and a selection of ordnance. The kit will provide 2 canopy options, one with and one without moulded det cord, and there will also be a boarding ladder. It's not a bad thing for to add boarding ladders. I think it's a nice addition. Meng claim the model accurately captures the complex shapes of the airframe and surface details. As you would assume this to be a top secret program, it makes you wonder where Meng got all of the information. Maybe Meng have hacked the manufacturer's computer server, which would be ironic. Or perhaps an insider on the J-20 program wanted to make a point in a War Thunder forum, who knows? But then, is it as accurate as Meng claim? Again, who knows? The kit will be available in October 2023. Airfix are to re-release their 1/24 scale Junkers Ju-87B Stuka. While it was originally released back in 1975, people say the kit still stands up and can be made into a fine kit. It is a big kit, very big. Some might say too big, but if you want a really big kit, this one definitely fits the bill. Just £96, 99 pence on the Airfix website. I was too afraid to check the cost of the postage, says the Falcon.
Yeah, I know postage from England to Australia is
It's
ridiculous.
Horrific. Moving on to military vehicle kits. Rifle models have recently shown the full set of sprues for the 135th scale Tiger 1 mid-production with interior cutaway model. With this sort of thing, you might expect a clear hull, but no, the hull and turret parts are cut away so you can see the interior. Probably not for me, but it's certainly an interesting concept. Expect we will see a few of these on contest tables in years to come. Seems like just the sort of thing competition models would use to showcase their mad skills. Spelt with a Z on the end. Academy will be releasing a 135th scale kit of a Polish Land Forces K2 GF main battle tank. Oshima have just released a 72nd scale JD SDF heavy truck type 73, which is Isuzu SKW 464. Also from the same manufacturer, a 172nd scale JD SDF type 96 wheeled APC type B. From what I could see, the kit has interior parts which can be shown by the openable roof hatches and rear door ramp. Border models have announced the new 135th scale Panzer IV OS FG Mid Kharkov 1943. As usual with Border Panzer, their kits will be a selection of accessory parts including a jerry can, bucket, T-34 tracks, helmet, package and other stowage. Fine Molds have announced 2 new 135th scale kits, an IJA field cooking set with Type 97 boiling water vehicle. As well as a couple of figures, it appears there will be a few accessories like bottles and crates. There will also be an IJA horse transport core set, a Type 93 carriage in step, ? I don't really get what that means either, but essentially what you get is a soldier leading a horse, pulling 2-wheeled carriage with a tarpaulin-covered load. This kit also comes with accessories including an optional hat, believe it or not, for the horse. U-Star will be releasing a 148 scale kit of the German King Tiger with full interior Henschel turret. There will be a second King Tiger with a so-called Porsche turret. It will also have full interior. Not sure if it's the kit or an aftermarket product, but U-Star is showing Zimmerit decals for both kits. The kits are being made with technical help from Tacom. Just between you and me, I think U-Star are Tacom. Tacom on their own this time have announced a 135th scale Swiss G13 tank destroyer. German armour aficionados will know the G13 is in reality a Jagdpanzer 38-ton Hetzer in Swiss service. To someone like myself who is not a German armour aficionado, it doesn't seem much different to a standard Hetzer apart from a spare wheel and track stuck on the side. But I'm sure Tacom have made the appropriate changes. That's all from now from the Falcon.
Yeah.
Well, there are some additions, I know. I think the boys in the Sprue Cutters Union spoke about the Hetzer, and there are some very subtle differences with the Hetzers. So, not that I could pick one from a pig in a poke, but apparently for those guys who do know, there are some significant changes.
Yep.
All right, that's it for what's new in the hobby world, unless you guys got some cracking news.
No.
Shattering news?
Not really, no.
Oh, all right.
No, we're pretty boring on that side.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's been a pretty short list of new kit releases anyway, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's that sort of quiet time of the year, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, anyway, we'll see what happens later on.
But on one thing, though, the guys at Edward have been spotted in the US taking lots of scans of P40Es.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But so
You're
here's the
happy
question.
with that, aren't you?
That means I've got a lot of P40s to get rid of.
So now that you realise that Eduard are probably going to make a kit of anything and everything that you like in a World War II prop plane, are you now looking at maybe you've overcommitted?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Like, I look at my P40 collection with all the accessories I've purchased for every kit.
Yeah.
Because I've just been going bananas with all the Hasegawa kits, and the only P40B I could find that was half decent was the Airfix one, which has a few problems itself. But even that, I've spent squillions on.
No, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about Eduard brings out the Wildcat. You buy several Wildcat kits. Then they bring out the Zero. You buy several Zero kits. They bring out a Spitfire. Got to have 5 of those.
Nah, 14, thank you. Not 5, 14.
All right, let's get into it. We've got a great interview coming up, and I can't wait to talk to Jody and Marissa about Gundam.
Yeah, that's going to be a great interview.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. So let's dive right into it. Hello and welcome back to the show, and this is our interview where we're going to be talking to two really talented female modelers who come from the Gundam world. First of all, we've got Marissa, and also we have Jody joining us on the show. Hello and welcome to the show, Jody and Marissa.
Hi. Good to be here.
We might start with you first of all, Marissa, just to sort of give us a bit of background, who you are and where you are and all the rest of that sort of stuff.
First of all, I would like to apologize if you can hear some cat murping in the background. Eve would very much love my coffee, and she is not allowed to have coffee. So she's been walking around my leg, wanting some coffee, and if you hear any, so that's her.
No worries.
Cool.
All right, so my name is Marissa, and I'm actually from Indonesia. Started scale modeling actually at a quite young age. My first kit was a Revel 1570 scale Titanic, I believe, that ended in disaster. But then I moved to airliner modeling, aircraft modeling, until I moved to Australia, in which I moved to exclusively Gunpla since 2008. The reason why I moved to Gunpla is because I got kind of bored of painting white,
As you would with airliners, yes.
It's just white and the lots of whites, lots of seam removal, the same sort of decals, just the one very annoying straight window, and you kind of can't really be too creative with an airliner. Unfortunately, I'm not really into the military side of things. I'm more of the casual flying bus enjoyer club. And I just got bored pretty much. And picked up Gundam in 2008, started with a couple of the small 1 to 144 scales, and pretty much got hooked. The plastic is way different than airliner plastic. Little to no seam removal on some kits, and it's already pre-painted, which is great.
Yes, indeed it is. Indeed it is. Jody, over to you. Where do you come from in regards to your journey through life with building plastic models?
Okay, so I'm Jody. Hi. My background really is a very recent one with models. So I come from an art and design background initially. Like I've always done art and drawing and stuff like that. And one fateful year in 2012, we went to South Korea on a holiday and stumbled into their version of the Gundam base. And my husband, who was familiar with Gundam, I wasn't really, picked up a kit and he went, oh, why don't you get something? So I basically just picked something I thought looked cool. And I think it was the Wing Destiny from Gundam Seed. And I brutally assembled that kit, like by twisting it off the sprues, I think, at some point. But I had a lot of fun doing it. So that sort of started me on my journey. And then we got a bit more serious and bought tools and stuff. And I started watching all the anime that was associated with it. I watched anime before anyway. And the designs of the suits just really appealed to me, and then painting and going further into it. And now I've gone down the Warhammer rabbit hole as well. So,
So you're based in Perth, aren't you?
Yes, yeah.
Well, it's funny because my very brand new daughter-in-law, she's also based in Perth and is a big figure painter as well in the Warhammer sort of world as well. So we just had her on a couple of shows ago just talking about it. So it was quite interesting discussion. So Gundam or Gunpla? What's the correct term?
The correct term would be Gunpla. Gunpla is the Gundam pla model, sort of that's kind of like the acronym, I think, is like Gundam plastic model, but Gundam is the anime. Am I right, Jody?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Gunpla. It's not Gunpla. Yeah, Gunpla is they have their own logo and everything, whereas Gundam have their own logo. You see it a lot in Japan. It just says Gunpla, not just Gundam.
Yeah, Gunpla's the kit. Gundam is what it is in the anime, the manga, whatever.
Yeah, so Gunpla's basically just an acronym.
Yeah. Because things that aren't Gundam can be Gunpla.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Well, the pla is for plastic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been around for, coming up for 40 years now. It's been around for quite a while, has it not?
Since 1979.
It's the 80s, I think. Yeah.
1979, so it's been around for quite a while.
Yeah.
And actually makes up a huge segment of the plastic modelling world, where I think last time I checked, it's about a $4 billion industry worldwide. Whereas the traditional modelling that Ian, Julian and I do, we do tanks, aircraft and ships and
cars,
science fiction and cars and all that, that probably makes up only about 5-10% of that market, if that. Whereas it's really the Gunpla, which is the largest segment of the market. So, and I guess that's because it kicked off very big in Asia to begin with, didn't it? Particularly Japan, where its homeland came from, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's also got more of a casual market to it. It's got, it caters to the high end people like us, and then it also caters down to the
beginners.
Yep. Little kids get into this sort of stuff. I mean,
and adults and all
I
sorts
guess
of people.
That's the appeal of it as well, because unlike, say, figure painting with wargaming or the type of stuff we do, you can buy one, as Jody said, just sort of twist it off the sprue and snap it together, and bang, you've got a kit that's made. You don't have to paint it because the plastic has already got pre-colours already into it. And it's got even some stickers, not decals, but actually stickers that you can sort of, peel off and just put on, and bang, you can have a great little sort of robot there in the space of half a day's building.
Robot.
Well, right, okay.
A lot of people, a lot of the older modelers from my ex-aircraft group told me, all the young kids, they don't really get into scale models anymore. But I told him there's a lot of us, we just moved to Gunpla. There's still a lot of modelers, especially since COVID. A lot of people picked up scale modeling. I think there's been an uptick, and I think that sort of persisted ever since COVID's finished. Like, people pick it up and then they really like it, and then just sort of kept going. A lot of the new members from our society in Canberra, they all started during COVID, and they sort of like kept getting into it. But especially for the young people, I think most of them just moved to Gunpla. It's just like easier. It's already pre-painted. You just cut it and assemble it. There's no cement needed as well, which is a huge plus. A lot of people, you can't really use cement indoors sometimes, especially when you're working from home, etc.
Yep.
So yeah, we still exist. Young people actually still do scale models.
And they fit together so well. You don't. There's not a lot of work required to make them to fit, because the engineering of the actual kit is designed in such a way that they can just snap together, and the tolerances
that's correct.
are
it's all snap fit.
Yeah. The only reason you'd glue it is if you didn't want it to sort of come apart at some point. Which I guess sort of leads
that's true.
down the next one. So it's acceptable to have them just built straight out of the box without any paint. Is that correct? And that's, the average sort of casual modeler, to use Julian's term, would be quite happy with that. Is that accepted within the modelling community itself, within the Gunpla community, just building straight out of the box and not enhancing it in any way?
Well, it's your hobby, so you can do what you want.
That's very
true.
But it's actually quite accepted. I think Jody can correct me. I think we're pretty sure like 75% of builders just straight build. The term is called straight building. So you just whatever's out of the box, stickers, maybe you can put some panel lining, a little bit of water decals if you're skilled enough. But straight build is basically out of the box, no painting. And to be honest, most of my friends, if I go on Instagram, like a lot of my followers on Instagram, they're just casual straight builders, and they have a lot of fun doing it. And you're not really frowned upon because it's not painted, because the kit itself looks great, just straight built. You can't really do that with a tank because you just have a brown or like a light brown sort of tank with nothing. But with Gundam, everything is already included and it's still in color. So it's not really... So it is encouraged, and there are some straight build competitions around the world as well. The latest one, the international one last year, Rise of Gunpla competition, there is a competition just for straight builds, just for no modification, just out of the box stuff. And it's meant to encourage really, really new modelers, and it's an even playing ground because no one does sanding, no one does seam removal, no one paints. So it's a true entry point if you want to get into scale model competitions.
Yep.
Well, I wonder how they actually judge that then. What's the criteria for judging those particular models? I'd be super interested to find out how they do that.
So here in the ACT SMS, I actually helped the judging categories for the 3 Gunpla categories that we have. If I can pull up the judging criteria on my computer.
Sure, please do.
Straight build it's meant to be as welcoming and as easily accessible as possible. Because one thing that I noticed from during the lockdown is that not a lot of people have a lot of budget for scale modeling, but they still want to get into it.
Yep.
And sometimes scale modeling can be a little bit pay to win. You have a better airbrush, you win. You have PEs that adds points. But straight build in Gundam, the reason why it's such a unique category is that it eliminates any form of like pay to win, because the judging criteria is very simple and it's translatable to everyone with different skill levels as well. While I try to dig up the judging criteria,
Sure.
Jody can pretty much tell you everything about straight build as well, and how it's just a lot of fun. Sometimes I wish I can just straight build forever, because it's great. So
Yeah, well, the kits are good enough that you can do that. So Bandai's color injection is very, very good. So lots of the parts are separated as well with the color, which helps you if you paint as well. But there's a few things that I wish I could just snap and leave. But obviously, as you get further into the hobby, you're like, I got to paint that. I've got to do something with that. But yeah, they're good enough for you to do that. It's actually really good for like workshops and things. So you can get really cheap kits, but they still look very, very good. And it's a good way to get like someone into the hobby who wouldn't necessarily look at a Gundam, like say they're a miniature painter or like a tank builder or an aircraft builder. You can be like, hey, here's something else that you don't have to paint if you don't want to, that you can just assemble and put it on your shelf and you're done. So yeah, it's quite a prevalent thing in the community.
Definitely. Is like with the painting, is weathering acceptable, or is it sort of like something they don't do with Gunpla?
You could do anything with Gundam though, so you have to keep in your mind that a Gundam doesn't exist, right?
Yeah, well,
it's not a real thing. So
don't say that.
It doesn't have to be realistic, right? But of course you can weather it. You can put it into an environment where it would be weathered. There are ground suits in the lore. If you want to follow the anime or the manga and you want it to make it more accurate, there are anime that are set on Earth, that are set in like really gritty environments. On the flip side, there are ones that are set in space, and of course you don't get weathered in space unless you're being attacked. So where you can do a really weathered kit and it's acceptable. You can also do a very clean kit and that's also acceptable.
Yep. Because I've seen some very, very crazy paint jobs at Melbourne Model Expo with Gunpla, and some of these paint jobs just blow my mind. Absolutely.
I've yet to see like the too many of the diorama type things, because there's some really good diorama stuff
there
out
is.
there.
Yeah. Totally agree.
If you look at James Denise, who he's come second quite a few times in our national comp. His speciality is doing dioramas, and the one he did for 2018, I believe, it took you 30 minutes of reading and looking at his piece to actually get everything, like to absorb everything. So so there's some really out there dioramas that you can make in the Gundam universe as well.
So you've just touched on, you said the word national competition. So is there a set sort of organisation or something in the Gunpla sort of world where you will sort of, might have regional competitions and move on to a national one, or is it a bit more sort of loosey-goosey than that?
There is an official international competition called GBWC, which is the Gunpla Builders World Cup.
Yep.
Before COVID, it was a thing you went to in person. So in 2018 and 19, I actually flew from Perth to Sydney to attend it with a bunch of people from the community here. It's run by Hobbyco at the moment because they're the official Bandai distributor.
Right.
So it's organised by Bandai, who are the parent company. It's an official thing. And the judge was flown out from Japan for it, Kawaguchi. And he was the sole judge for it in those years that I attended. I'm not sure about what was happening previous. I'm sure Marissa can comment on that.
I actually don't know.
But yeah, it was something we went to in person. You display your models at an event called Smash. That's like a convention that's run in Sydney in July, I think, or July around that time. And then the winner, there was like a first, second, third, and the winner would then go on to compete against the world's winners in Japan, and then they would award like an international Gunpla builder.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, you get to take home a big golden trophy.
Oh, really?
Well, I could only hope that mine sort of would be able to live up to that standard. Ian and I have both built
A Gumpler.
Gumpler.
Yes.
And,
Well, I actually got a second prize in Canada for mine.
You did. And mine picked up 2 awards in the Melbourne show and the Canberra show last year. So
It was a fun. I enjoyed it.
It's a fun build.
It's a fun build, yeah. Because it's a sort of, for me, it's because I'm always doing like historically accurate models as I can to have a palette cleanse where I can just go with my imagination.
I've started one that I didn't finish, and I recently gave it away to someone else to
finish it.
I just well, I kind of I started like doing some things to it, and then I got the inner frame painted. I started working on the arm. It was the one of the Barbatos kits, but I only got so far with it. And I started to go off road, and then I lost interest.
Well, when I first built mine, I was really out of my comfort zone.
Oh, so me, yeah.
Really super out of my comfort zone. I didn't know how to approach it, which way to do it. And in the end, I just sort of applied some of my, other sort of modelling genre skills across to it. And it sort of worked out.
Mm.
It was a Zaku 2 that I built. A little one. 1/144th scale, I think it was. Anyway, you girls know you probably know what that is. I don't. I still struggle with all the names.
Well, yeah, that's right, because they don't really label them via the scale with regards to numbers. They just go by grades.
Yeah. I don't know what grade this one was.
Yeah.
Anyway,
cheaper grade.
I had fun building it. Is all I can say. In the end.
So me.
And it was very refreshing to have a change of pace.
Yep. Totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, like, so these two guys, even though they've both finished Gumpler kits, because they're not invested in it like they would be the stuff that they're, like planes, tanks and stuff, they haven't gone very deep into like what the kits can offer.
That's right.
So they only go for like the cheapest sort of ones because that's as far as they can justify it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was told that because I weathered mine.
I weathered mine too.
And I was pretty much told that, that's a space one.
Same with mine.
It's like, okay. But, oh well.
Yeah, no,
it's still won the Musaru Cup.
Yeah, good one. Sorry, we're hogging the microphone here, ladies.
No, I finally found the judging criteria.
Oh, fantastic!
For a straight build.
Yes.
Yep. So this is the Scale Act Gumpler category straight build judging criteria.
So this is the Scale SMS show, which is happening.
SMS show. Yep. Yes.
Well, we'll be up there. We'll be up there in November. So
we're going to be there.
We'll see you.
So you can see as well. Last year we've had our biggest Gumpler category entries yet. We have over 20 across all 3 categories.
Mm-hmm.
Back then we only have one category, and that's just Gundam. And we found when I went into the committee, I raised some issues because if there's only just one category and then you have a kid who wants to submit a straight build, but then you're against a big resin kit, you will automatically lose.
Yes.
Right.
The thing with Gundam is there is a very distinct set of skill differences. So a lot of Gundam competitions back in my hometown in Indonesia and internationally usually have 3 categories: straight build, repaint, and custom, because that's the general consensus of what the 3 different level of Gumpler skills are.
Mm-hmm.
So straight build, just have fun, submit it. Repaint is strictly repaint, no parts, no metal parts, no scribing, no plot plates. It's just literally you repaint a kit. And then custom is where everyone sort of like, you can do anything. You can do customization, you can do resin, you can do battle damage, you can do scribing. And after we implement those 3 distinctions of Gumpler scale models, we are seeing a lot more entries and the judging is a lot more fair. The kids can enter and it's like straight build versus straight build, and it's a level playing field. And the reason why I actually pushed the committee to segregate the Gundam category into 3, which is actually, they didn't want to do that because they want to reduce the amount of categories at scale. But I told them it's really necessary because I saw a kid enter a straight build and it's really well done, but I entered a big PG kit and it's all painted and modified, and the kid lost, and he looks very dejected, and I still have nightmares from that. And I said, no, it's not fair to only have one category and then you're excluding it, and the kid will not return again the next year. He didn't, by the way. And it's just not fair. Let's bring in the Indonesian system, which is the three category system.
Oh well, you need to be applauded for that, because the whole idea of modelling it's supposed to be inclusive, and if you have these competitions where you're making it exclusive, you're just crushing the hopes and dreams of
up and coming modelers. And I'm thinking back to our local hobby show that we had here back in June, July, whatever it was. The Gunpla, it had Gunpla and Mecha in the same category, and there was no other sort of categories whatsoever. So how could you judge that? You couldn't. It's patently unfair. Yep.
Yeah. I have a story from way back about a similar thing that happened to
we love war stories. Yeah. We love war stories. Go for it.
Just
don't name names because I don't want to be sued.
There's only one scale model show here in WA, and it might have had its last year this year anyway.
Yeah, that's sad to hear.
Yeah, we've heard that, yes.
Yeah. But way back in the day when the Gunpla community here was just sort of building up momentum and we were all very enthusiastic, we all entered this particular scale modeling show. And like we had people enter who had like came third at GBWC. These people were really good modelers, and we all entered our kits in. And we made Gunpla the biggest category ever that they'd ever had, right?
Yep.
But again, they lumped Gunpla and Mecha together. So when they announced the winner, the winner was someone who had apparently won every single year with a Macross in plane form. And the community just went, well, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like one guy had entered a really beautiful straight build, had LEDs in it. It was very detailed. It was very clean. It took a lot of skill to make this model, and it's beaten by a Macross in a plane form. And we just kind of went, what are these people doing? Why are we wasting our time?
What's the point? Yeah.
And for the next few years, we just didn't bother with that scale model show because we just thought, well, what's the point? They're just going to pick a Mecha or something that isn't even a Gunpla in our category, and they don't recognize the skill it took.
Yeah, it's a slap in the face, isn't
model.
it? Mm.
Yeah. So for a long time, we didn't go back, and then eventually they sort of went, oh, okay, we need categories, we need a proper judge, and that's when we actually started to go back. But that experience put the community off for quite a while.
Yeah. Well, at least they sort of recognise their fault in the end, or not fault, but what's another word for it? It's not a fault, really. It's just...
Yeah, it's prejudice.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. To recognise prejudice and move forward with it, so it was good.
I think they just didn't recognise Gunpla as a thing, and some older scale modelers don't. They say, well, scale modelling is planes, tanks, military, boats, whatever else. Yeah. And what's this robot? I don't know what this is.
The old, those sort of people just consider it as just a toy.
Well, there's a guy in our club who, he's kind of joking, but also kind of not. Where he thinks that if it's not a real life vehicle or thing, then if you make a model of it, it's not a scale model.
Yeah, which is just stupid.
Yeah, which we remind him all the time about how stupid he is. He's got no choice but to take it.
So, Marissa,
actually, one of the sorry, I cut you off a little bit. I was just going to say, one of the head judges here in ACTSMS actually told me, well, Gundam is scale modeling because scale modeling itself is basically making something in scale, and it could be anything.
Yes,
and it could be made out of anything. Even apparently, plasticine modeling counts as scale modeling. It can be made of wood, metal, plastic, or anything. So we're trying to. I think he mentioned this last year to someone who said, "Oh, Gundam is not real scale modeling," and he said, "Actually, I was around there, so good on him." He says, "Well, it's based on an anime, based on a robot, and it's in scale. So yes, it is scale modeling. I think he said something along that line to someone, and I was just there listening, like, oh, this is so good. We're validated. We got the villains.
So, Marissa, with the three categories that you mentioned, unpainted, painted, and then modified, even within those three categories, you could potentially have hundreds of, kits being entered. Is it judged on first, second, third, or is there another way of sort of judging or splitting that particular category up?
So in the ACTSMS, we have one winner, and then we can have up to one or two highly commended, I believe. That's a question best asked to the head judges. Yep. But last year, we had a winner, and then if there's like two kids that's like really good, then they both get highly commended. So talking back about the straight build, so the ruling is basically any scale can be used, so long as it stays in the Gundam universe and it's not counterfeit. Now that's very important because some judges just assume all robots are Gundams, and they put Pat Labor in Gundam, and it's like, no, it's not. It needs to be in the Gundam universe. Like, that's the most important distinction, because there are other third-party kits that look like Gundam, but they're not Gundam. And they're super detailed, and it would beat every single straight build. Especially the Chinese kits now are really detailed. They're third-party kits. They're inspired by Gundam, but they're not from the Gundam universe. So that's one of the things that we found in other competitions. The judges don't know that it needs to be from the Gundam universe. Someone comes in with a metal alloy inner frame plastic kit and it won, but it's not a Gundam. So it's very, very important to make that distinction. Of course, with the straight build category, any painting of the model is forbidden except for panel lining. Panel lining is basically you can use a pen or pencil or a panel line wash to just bring highlights into the armor panel lines. Armor modelers do that. Plane modelers do that. You can do that for Gundams as well. Sanding is allowed to remove nub marks. Obviously, with the judging, if you put in a straight build and it has like a lot of nub marks, then it's not clean and it's not neat. So try to remove that as much as possible. Weathering is prohibited. Battle damage is prohibited. Any modifications to the kit, which includes metal parts, scribing, flower plates, 3D printed parts, and resin parts, are prohibited. Putting, filling, and seam line removal are prohibited. Scratch building is prohibited. Kit bashing is prohibited. Top coating is allowed, but will not award any bonuses. Same with water decals and diorama. They will not add any bonuses. So it's a very bare bones. Just make it look nice, pose it really cool, and good luck.
So then moving up to the next category, painted. Are you looking to have the seam lines removed in those ones?
Yep, filling and seam line removal is allowed on repaint.
Right.
But this is one thing a lot of judges also don't know. Some Gundam seam lines aren't meant to be removed. Because the seam lines can slide the armor like together, like it moves left and right, and sometimes armor pieces can be opened to expose the inner frame.
Yeah.
So a lot of the mistakes that the old judges did back in the day was they look at a Gundam, they saw lines on the armor, and they're like, they didn't remove the seam line. But it takes a Gundam modeler to tell the judge saying, you actually can't remove that seam line without compromising the articulation of the kit. I think Jody would know, like if you look at the unicorn, there's no way you can remove seam lines on the unicorn. It's meant to slide. And I knew a unicorn was disqualified from a competition saying like, oh, it's just like, there's a lot of seam lines. Look at all those seam lines. And I'm like, no, it's meant to be opened. You can't remove them without, and then you can't transform the kit. And some kits transform from like the robot mode to a bird mode into a mode with a lot of cannons. So those seam lines are needed. They're there for a reason. Yep. And Bandai has done a great job to make sure that any seam lines these days doesn't really need to be removed as much, because they've sort of like done that with their Digimon kit. So the seam line is sort of like concealed underneath other parts. So it's very, usually when a judge is confused and asks me, can you remove this seam line? I try to be objective, like, well, you can, but then you'll compromise this. So that's why people leave it there for a reason.
Yep, fully understand. Yep.
Yeah. So that is in repaint. Yes, you can fill and remove seam lines if it's on a part where it can be removed.
Yep.
And weathering is allowed, but battle damage is not allowed because battle damage counts as modification, and repaint is just repainting.
Okay.
So, but scratch building is still prohibited. Kit bashing is still prohibited because it is a repaint category. So if you're just graduating from a straight build and you're like, I want to get better, I want to start repainting. Repaint is really the first step up, natural progression of your skill as a Gunpla builder. You start as a straight builder, then you're like, I want to customize. I want to start repainting first. Very rarely people go from straight build and then straight into modifications, 3D printing, plow plates, metal parts. It's very, very rare. The next progression is most likely repaint because that's how I started. I'm pretty sure that's how you started too, Jody, right? Like you straight build, then you start just painting first,
sure.
right?
Yeah. Always painting.
And then after painting, that's when you go to the custom category where you can put metal parts, kit bashing, resin, etc. Because that's the kind of like the final tier where of customization, and it's pretty much anything goes. So it's the hardest category, and it's meant to be for advanced modeler.
Right.
Fully, yep.
So, the other question sort of pops into mind because you were talking about, models or kits that are manufactured in China and elsewhere.
Yep.
Yeah, to somebody like myself, I wouldn't have a clue looking at a kit on the table whether it's a true Bandai kit or not. How do you guys go? Sort of, is it just a knowledge base, or is there particular things that you can notice that immediately stand out that it's not a Bandai kit?
Probably the quality of it.
Oh, like, for sure. Most Chinese kits have like a pre-made metal inner frame as well. Right. Most of them actually, like 80% of them that is in the market now have a pre-made metal alloy frame. And then basically you just cut the armor pieces and then just put them on the inner frame. So it's very heavy. And if you actually they're also very pointy. I'm not sure. Do you reckon so, Jody? Like they're very pointy. Like there's a lot of pointy things. And it's very big. And Chinese kits are like they really emphasize details. They want like, oh, look at all the details on the chest. Look at all the details. So there's like a lot of things, a lot of color separation, and it's always pointy. I have no idea what their obsession is with pointy things. It's like pointy armor, pointy fin, pointy kneecaps. Like it's just very, you can't miss it. It's just like, okay, that's not Bandai.
So what you mean is that like they're not so much knockoffs of Bandai.
They're not knockoffs, but they're kind of like their own mecha, Gundam inspired mecha kit.
So you call it mecha.
But also,
mecha's a better term then?
Yeah.
All right.
But also to confuse you, they do rip off Gundam kits.
they do have bootleg Gundam kits as well.
Yeah. And some of them look better. Like so
actually better than Bandai.
So you were looking at my builds before, the wing that I've just done. The wings on it are actually from a bootleg kit because the wings look nicer than the Bandai ones. So I use those.
So,
which kit is that?
So the big white one that's pinned to the top.
On the left-hand side.
Looking at the wing. Wow. So if you scroll down, I actually did a comparison between it's called the Supernova. It's a brand that makes that particular kit, and the Bandai kit. So my base kit was a Bandai Vercar wing. And I used the wings off the Supernova kit because they were more detailed. They're bigger, actually, physically bigger and more detailed. But it's like the same kit, but just a bootleg version of the kit.
That makes you a rebel then, does it? Doing...
Well, I don't know if it makes me rebel, but it just looked better. So the rule of cool applies here. It looked cooler.
The rule of cool.
I like that term. That's a good term. We have to start using that. The rule of cool. That's good.
I don't know a whole lot about.
Well, you know more than we do.
Well, I mean, I have an overview, is what I should say, of things with Gunpla. And one thing I hear often is that a lot of people want the Wing Zero kit. right? And
Yep.
I've heard that the because of the articulation and the weight of the plastic that it's actually not a very good kit with regards to like you get like parts sagging with the wings and things like that or something.
It's very back heavy.
Depends on.
But then you get the
depends on what
stand.
wing. I think it depends on what wing. So maybe the older wing, yeah. But the Vercar is like the newest version. I had no issues with that. And I've also built the high res, which is the purple one that's on my feet. I took that to GBWC. A lot of people would be familiar with it. That was fine as well. But they're both very newer kits. I think the older kits, they can be an issue because they're not as engineered as well as what the newer Bandai stuff is.
Oh, yeah.
But that's saying that white one is very, very heavy because it's got all the extra stuff on it. And it was a feat of physics to get it to sit on that stand.
Oh.
Right, yeah, I can imagine. I can well imagine.
Did you have to like
When I
put
took it
any
to-
like weight in the base or anything like that?
It has steel rods in it to support the back wings and to have it on the rod. Yeah. So I had to pin it, pretty much like a garage kit.
Oh wait, so the wings are a resin, are they?
No, so it has a resin dress-up kit on it on the frame, but the plastic add-on bit that goes around the skirt, it's all plastic pretty much, the wings and everything, but
okay.
it's just what can hold it into the model. So I've got a metal rod going from the connector into the actual model to support it.
See, I know enough that I know that there's really cool like resin kit like mod kits for them where you just start off with the frame and then all the armor bits are resin and they got like all the extra detail and extra panel lines and stuff like that, and they're expensive and they come from Asia. And I almost pulled the trigger on a few of them. But you saw because you it's a lot of money and you're sort of looking at the kit very carefully and you're like, hang on a second, if that thing's made out of resin, how do they get it to stand without falling over?
Yeah.
I think Mars can cover that because she's done a lot of resin.
Because I've made resin many resin kits. Usually some resin kits come with their own stand. Some UGL and resin conversions. The Amazing Exia, the Fourth Impulse comes with their own stands. Some, and the new as well, comes with their own stand. And sometimes you just have to make your own stand. I make my own custom stands with acrylics. And basically I drill 2 holes for like a base or a strut to go underneath the kit. Some resin kits, like the really big one, like the Suzabi, I've seen people using, I know a builder who used kind of like brass rods on acrylics, but they are very heavy, these resin kits. And they kind of become statues after you finish. You kind of really don't want to touch it because I just recently finished an X-Sentinel kit. I'll link it to you. And I'm never going to touch it again forever. Because when I tried to move it yesterday, bits fell off, and I'm like, it is staying on top of my shelf, and I will never move it. And I actually had to super glue a lot of other things as well. But yeah, it can be some kits do come with their own stand as well, and it doesn't have to be a resin kit. Some master grades that you buy, especially the Furcast, they come with their own stands. The Psycho Zaku comes with their own stand, for example. Some older master grades, like the F91, comes with their own stand. Some premium Bandai kits comes with their own stand as well.
What I was sort of talking about was the one I saw had like the large tube type, like extra like rocket type things sticking out of its back. And, obviously, like the weight distribution, that thing would just fall over backwards if you just were to stand it on a table.
Oh, on its own feet.
Yeah. Like the only way you could balance it.
You can't really.
Yeah.
I don't think it can really stand without any assistance, that's for sure. Because it does change the center of balance of the kit, the natural kit itself. Because most resin conversions, you use the inner frame, but you just add a lot of different like kind of extra bits and pieces outside of the inner frame, and that does make it a lot heavier. And some resin kit is like one part is bare and the other part has a lot of armor, so it's like left leaning or right leaning. So you definitely need to rig your own display base for that.
That's another level of commitment.
It is, yes.
So, what's the scene like over in Western Australia now for Gundam? Is it a vibrant scene? You're a local club or something that everybody goes to, or there are multiple clubs over there? What's going on, Jodie?
There's not really a club. So it used to be quite close-knit before COVID, and we would all go over to GBWC together like I was talking about before. But since COVID sort of hit, a lot of people, they just don't get together anymore. So there's a Facebook group, and I'm kind of trying to revive it a little bit with what I'm doing with the West Oz miniature painters and the competition that we're running here associated with that. But it's mainly just Facebook at the moment, and obviously we know each other and we'll catch up at various events like the Scale Model Show just gone. But no, not really a club or anything.
Just a vibrant community by the sounds of it.
You need to have you need to meet on a regular basis to have fellowship. You've got to dive into that pool of
fellow modelers.
Yeah, exactly right.
Unfortunately, we don't really have anywhere that people meet anymore. Like there was a store that we used to meet at, but the people who used to go there don't really go there anymore. And some people have dropped out of the hobby as well and just do other things now. So
I find
it is what it is.
I find that the local universities and institutes of technology are a breeding ground for Gundam builders, and there's always like a local student sort of body who's sort of building away happily that nobody else in the world knows about it.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, in Canberra we have like an anime club in the ANU. There are mostly Gundam builders, and they have a Gundam club as well in the ANU. They recently just finished rewatching like the entire new anime, so I know a lot of people in the anime/Gundam group, at least here in ANU. And Canberra is quite small, so it's kind of quite easy to kind of like notice the same people building Gundam and like their friends and things like that. So,
absolutely, and of course, Canberra, you're blessed with that fantastic ACT SMS club up there as well, which is huge.
Yeah, they recently just turned 50 last year. Apparently it's a really big deal. I got a bunch of awards. I
was going to say, but with Gundam, it's a very international thing as well.
Yes.
So you don't really need a local, like, physical presence as such. So I'm a member of a community called the Gunpla Girl Gang, and they're a big international group of girls who just basically build Gunpla and have a presence on Discord, and that's pretty much it. So, so there's community out there. It's just not always physical. A lot of it's online. I mean, I've never actually met Marissa in person, but we're friends through Instagram and whatever else. So
we kept telling each other we'll meet each other, but then I look at flight prices to Perth and the time it takes, and I get put off every time. One day I will.
Well, as
it's like
as a father who
I
has
told Jodie, like, it's 5.5 hours. I could go to Bali for like another 20 minutes.
Yeah, I can go to Bali for cheaper than it is to go to Canberra.
That's a big difference.
Perth is the world's most isolated capital city, and as a father who has my youngest son and daughter-in-law living over there, it's just too far and too expensive sometimes to get to. It really is tough. So anyway, I want to pivot the conversation now to have a chat about gender in modelling, and given that obviously you guys have been modelling for quite some time, I wonder if you guys have sort of hit any barriers or come up against anything because of your gender.
Yes. Yes.
Of
I have a
course.
few war stories.
Please tell us the war stories.
Wait, who goes first? You or me? Who wants to go first?
I'll tell a very quick one. So my first encounter with, I guess, I don't know, sexism, I guess. I went to like a local scale modeling club who had like a buy, swap and sell, right?
Yep.
And my husband works FIFO, so he's not home all the time. So he was away this particular weekend. I just thought I'll just take myself down. I'll see if there's something I want to buy. Pay my money to the old boy at the desk. And the first thing he says to me is, "Where's your husband?" And I'm like, "You don't know me from a bar of soap, mate." And in my head, I'm going like, "Oh, yeah, sorry, mate. He let me out the kitchen today." But of course, in the moment, you don't say that. I just kind of like laughed awkwardly and went inside. But it sort of puts you off going back to those sort of scale modeling situations. Yeah. So it's like, okay. But yeah, or people who come up to you when you've made something really amazing, go like, "Oh, did you make that all yourself?"
Oh, how condescending is that? Oh my god!
It's like, yeah, mate, I can glue my fingers together all by myself. Like, yeah.
How about you, Marissa?
Oh, it's the same. I went to a hobby competition when I actually first few years I'm in Australia. And then it's just the same question. It's like, it's like I was actually there with my boyfriend at that time. So we came in together, and I put the model on the table, and then one of the committees said to the boyfriend, "Oh, you made a really nice airliner." And I'm like, I'm the one putting it on the table. Like, they didn't think that I was the one making it. They just like look at my boyfriend. I'm like, "Oh, nice kit." And this was before Gundam. But I feel when I was in Gunpla, like it's also in the social media sort of thing, it can be a bit quite toxic as well, especially for female builders. And I think that's why a lot of the female builders I know, they kind of retreat to Discord where it's not really public, and they're sort of like slowed down on the more public facing things like Instagram.
Yeah.
Because I know a friend of mine, she's Cambodian, like Kalyan. I'm sure Jody knows about her as well because she used to be in the same group. She gets DMs every day of people saying, because she really likes to make cute looking Gundams. Like everything is like pink, and she puts like, I don't know, like nail accessories, like those little blings. Like she makes it like really cute. Like she loves pastel colors. Like everything is pink and like really, really great. And people will say like, "Oh, but that makes it look bad. Like, oh, it's just terrible. Why would you paint it like that? Like, it's I can see your hand brush. Like, it's really rough." Like, people would just judge them. Yeah. Constantly because like, oh, they're making it cute. It's like, oh, what a shame for this kid to be made look so girly like that. Like, it's, let her do what she wants. She obviously, that's her style. She likes something, really, really cute. And, I think you shouldn't judge someone because, she's a girl and she makes girly things. She should be respected as a modeler, doing modeler things. I also know another person in the US. She does very abstract art. I think Jody would know who I'm talking about as well. She would, pour paint over the kit and let it dry and crust, and then would like chip it away. So it's very unconventional way of painting and modeling kits. And sometimes she would like dip it in like kind of like sprinkles, so make it look like it's an ice cream, and like it's very out there. Like, that's one thing that's really good about Gunpla. It's like you can really do whatever you want, but then people would blame her. It's like, that's all she can do. She can just like put paint over it, and then like it's art. Like it. But the thing is, it is art.
It is, yeah, I was going to say that's more artwork to me.
So you can do that. You can do abstract. I mean, if people can like tape a banana on the wall and say it's art, you can dip a Gundam in chocolate yogurt and cover it with sprinkles and say it's art as well. But there's also a lot of, I guess, negative stigma. It's a bit, I don't know, like some girls are obviously not helping it, but there's a lot of on the social media sort of things where, I don't know, a lot of female modelers, they sort of snap build Gundam, but then they would take suggestive photos with the Gundams to get engagement. And I think it's sort of like brought in like the negative stigma, like, oh, you're just one of those female Gunpla builders who just like straight builds and take, suggestive photos.
Yeah, I get it. They're sort of undermining the.
So that's why I don't show my face on Instagram. Like, it's all just my work, and it's quite funny because a lot of my followers are trying to guess if I'm a guy or a girl, and we've definitively settled that I'm a Range Rover, and then it became a huge inside joke. Because I had that same issue as well when back then I used to put my face and sort of like, post next to my kit, but then people would start commenting, "Oh, show us your chest" and stuff like that, and it's just like not very nice anymore. So I just sort of stopped doing that for like 3 years now. I just deleted everything that has my face on it, because I've seen a lot of people got that as well. But then again, like I said, some builders are not helping by perpetuating and keep doing things like that to sort of get engagement as well. So it's kind of like, yes, there is still sexism or in scale modeling, no matter where it is, Gunpla, aircraft, etc. But also, obviously, some are also not helping the situation. So it's kind of, you have to see it both ways as well. But yeah, I believe like everyone, I guess, some way would have experienced something like that. That's for sure. That's why there's so little female builders just actively posting, especially on Facebook. Like, I'm part of some Facebook groups. Like, one of them has 100,000 members, and it's all guys posting. One female posted, and then the comments are so toxic. It's like, "Oh, I could do better." Like, they're trying to like teach her how to do things.
Yeah.
And
Mansplain.
it just got to the point where I mean, like, obviously, like, she's painted this. Obviously, she knew how to paint. Yet there's like 50 comments of people saying, "You should paint better. You should use this paint. Or it could be done better." Like, it's all negative. But then I looked at the piece and I'm like, you know what? That's pretty good. But then I've seen other people with worse, I guess like worse quality work, and the comments are all positive. But then someone with like a girl profile picture posted, and then like all the comments are just trying to tell her what to do. And it's just very sad because I know a lot of female builders who are still active, but they just don't want to post anything because they're so scared of what people might say.
Well, I totally understand what you're talking about, and I do agree. There is also a portion of that just carries on through the entire like modeling community. People like to think that they have a better insight than someone else.
They think it's a boys' club only.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, yeah. Don't get me wrong. The boys' club thing and all that sexism and stuff, absolutely a deal, and it's probably the most prominent part of what she's talking about. But also, even just amongst guys, right? You'll see like the classic. The way I've heard it coined is I forgot what the term that
like
they
a
used
rivet
to
counter.
Gatekeeping.
I mean, there's lots of stuff like that, but like people feel the need to give their 2 cents, even if it contributes absolutely nothing,
or if it's not asked for, they'll do it anyway.
The thing that annoys me is when they'll, like, someone will be asking a question or they'll be talking about it, making a discussion on a certain topic, and then some guy comes in and goes, "Here's my model," and slaps it on in the middle of the conversation, like it has anything to do with anything.
Yeah, the look at me type thing. Yep.
Well, here's what I did. It's like, well, that's got nothing to do with what we're talking about. Go away.
And you get it a lot as a female too. Like, I get it a lot when I've posted in groups like, "Oh, here's my latest finished build." And these people know me, like they know me as a person, but they'll go like, "Oh, here's mine," in the comment section.
Yes.
That's great, mate. Make your own post about it.
Exactly.
Right. Yes.
Stop hijacking my post.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so I think there's like across the entire like sort of model building sort of spectrum on the internet, so people just have a general lack of courtesy and sort of they don't really understand or comprehend the tone of what they're doing. They just sort of mindlessly just go in and just
I think
throw comments around.
I think social media, that's the nature of social media to a certain extent, and it allows that. Whereas if you're in a face-to-face sort of situation, there's no way people would talk to you like that.
No. No, it's just because they're hiding behind their keyboard and monitor. They think they can do whatever they want because there's no consequences.
So not only does that, I find that abhorrent, but also, anything where you have gatekeepers or indeed anybody who's putting down a modeler based on their sex or skills or even their gender. That just really, I've got grandsons and granddaughters. I'd hate, them to be, and kids, I'd hate for them to, be exposed to that kind of thing.
Oh, of course.
Especially if they're choosing something that they want to do as an enjoyment, like model building. Just, good Lord, we've got enough trouble as it is without sort of, putting those barriers up to sort of stop the kids coming through. No, it needs to be stamped out. And here's the light on the hill. I will not accept it. Sorry, I sound like
there's a lot of gatekeepers in Gundam as well.
No, don't say no. Please don't tell me that.
It's just the nature of humans.
I got blasted by someone for using the wrong type of decal because I'm making an air unit and not a ground unit.
Oh, yeah.
There's a big post. I don't know, if Jody came across it. There's this big post of someone basically saying, if you don't paint your kit, basically you are just wasting money because painted kits looks way better than unpainted kits, and it has 400 comments of people like attacking each other, and I'm like, I need an internet break today.
You see things
what about color specifics? That's not the right shade of blue for.
There are people like that. There are people who's purists. You need to paint the Gundam the way it's meant to be painted in the anime, but literally that's maybe 40% of people does that. 60% of people I know, they like to experiment with different colors, but then those people get very angry when they see you paint something not like the anime.
I always wanted to for a future project is do a Gundam, but paint it like it's made out of wood. And just watch the fur fly. Or stone.
I've seen one painted like it was a marble statue.
Yeah,
that was done for a local challenge back in the day here. Yeah.
All right. Did it make the fur fly, or everyone liked it?
Yeah, I think it came first. I think.
Oh, even better.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been done. Yeah, wood statue. Yeah, it's been done. Yeah, rock. It's part of a diorama, but it's a big rock statue. Yeah, it's been done. I've seen that being done as well. Yeah.
It's awesome.
So one thing I wanted to sort of you don't have to talk about this if you don't want to, but I've heard that with the was it W whatever what's the Gunpla World Championship thing.
BWC?
Yeah, the official competition on the worldwide stage. I've heard that the judges are biased towards the sort of main character Gundams.
Yes. So
yes.
I don't know if it is now, because since COVID the competition has drastically changed.
Ah.
They no longer fly out the judge from Japan since COVID because it's been online. And the one that's just been, I think, was just judged by members of that particular hobby store in Sydney. But previous to that, when Kawaguchi Meijin did judge it, Bandai did favour, I'll say, the flavour of the month in terms of anime and marketing. So if you made a Barbatos, right? And that was during the Iron-Blooded Orphans when it was streamed online.
Mm-hmm.
You would probably place high because they want to market that suit.
Yes.
Yeah, I get you.
But
money talks.
Yeah, but that being said, I have been to Japan and seen the winners of one of the years. I can't remember which year. And I think in Exia one year, the one that's in the tunnel, if you remember.
No, I know what you're talking about, the black one.
Yeah. And there was nothing about 00, that series going on at the time. That was purely picked because it photographs well and it's an amazing looking suit. So yes, it does play a role, the marketability of it. Yes, the scale actually played a role. So I mentioned before James Denise, who makes these amazing dioramas, plays second a lot of the time. He didn't win because he always worked in a 1/44 scale. they want a bigger scale. They want MG or bigger to photograph because it looks better.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. So we always talk about GBWC all the time. Jody and I, over the past 3 years, we always talk about GBWC because 1 year the judging is really, really bad. The next year it's okay, and then the year after is really, really bad, and there's just no consistency anymore. Is what we're seeing with GBWC. And the thing is, being an Australian permanent resident, I can actually compete on 2 GBWCs. I can actually compete in the Indonesian GBWC and also the Australian one. And the thing is, I've seen the way the Indonesian GBWC is judged, and it is so different than how the Australian GBWC is judged. The quality of work between the 2 countries are just vastly different. It is the diorama, the presentation, everything. Sorry?
Can you elaborate?
Elaborate. Okay, so it's an Indonesian GBWC. There's actually two districts or 2 sectors, Jakarta and Surabaya. Jakarta is for the the west side of Java. West? I'm bad with direction. Okay, Surabaya is East Java. The reason why it's split into 2 is so that people from the east side of Indonesia can go to Surabaya, people from the west side of Indonesia can go to Jakarta. Jakarta is obviously naturally bigger because a lot of people live in Jakarta. So in Indonesia, if you look at the quality and the quantity of people entering GBWC, there's always a lot more people. But the thing is not because Indonesia is just a more populated nation. The reason why so many people put so much effort into winning GBWC is because if you win GBWC in Indonesia, you can actually make a living of doing commission works.
Oh, wow.
Whereas in Australia, if you win GBWC, there's not always a chance that you can sustain yourself with commission works. In Indonesia, you can. So that mentality difference, this could be my livelihood, is, that's why the quality of work is very different. I guess in Australia, people more view it as I want to do it for fun, and I want to enter and do my best and see if I win. But in Indonesia, it's more like I have to do really well because this is my ticket, so I can earn a livelihood doing commission works and opening my own workshop.
Yeah.
So it's already a very different mentality because I'm part of 2 workshops in Indonesia. So every time I go home, I help with the workshop. I do commission works myself. And the thing is, looking at the commission work rates, yes, you can make a living in Indonesia. But how do you make a living? You have to make your name known. And how do you make your name known? Win GBWC.
Yeah.
One of the biggest commission workers I know have won GBWC, even just for 1 year. Even if it's in 2018, even if it's 5 years ago, but they've won, they've placed, and that brought their name into the market, and then they make their own workshop and make a living out of that. But in here, the mentality is very different. The judging is also very different because I'm not quite sure who judged the Australian GBWC. And you can see this yourself by looking at the past results of the Indonesian GBWC versus the Australian GBWC. But the Indonesian GBWC, there are 2 different judges, I believe. One is from the major sponsor and one from Bandai. So it's, I don't know who does it here. Do you know who does the judging in Australia?
The last 2 times that I went, I've only been in 2018 and 2019 because, as I said before, I've only been in the hobby quite recently compared to Marissa. But I believe Kawaguchi judged 2018 2019. I think he had helpers for 2019 because another guy from Bandai came out with him. And Lincoln Wright, who you guys know, he is basically a translator for Kawaguchi when he comes out here, and he walks around and takes care of him. So he was one of the main judges, I'd say. But since then, I think it's been people who work at Hobbyco, I believe, did the last one. And because the other ones were online only, they didn't have an in-person event. I don't really know. But yeah, so Kawaguchi was the main judge those 2 times, but I think I'm pretty sure someone else helped him or had input at least in 2019.
Kawaguchi's a huge name in Gunpla, by the way.
Right.
Like a huge name.
Yeah, he's the master modeler, like Gunpla guru.
He's even featured in some of the series.
Oh, really? So they actually put him in the animation.
Yeah, he's made cameos there as well.
I've had him.
So he's like the Stan Lee of the Gunpla world.
I've had him sign the box of his Gunpla that's based on him, like the one that's based on him in Build Fighters. It's like Kawaguchi's something or other. And I've had him sign the box, and I've had him sign my pins from GBWC because everyone gets a pin who enters.
Yes, I got a pin.
Yeah.
I got a
So
pin.
he's a big deal. He's a big deal.
Well, let's
only somewhat of a big deal. Kind of a big deal, yeah.
Not as big as Mars the Range Rover, I'm sure.
I'm the biggest deal. Take that, Kawaguchi.
Okay, guys. So for you, Jody, if people want to sort of follow up and have a look at your work and everything, whereabouts can they find you?
So I'm on Instagram mainly at Persaku Girl, which is my community nickname. I also help admin Facebook groups around the place. So I'm an admin of Gunpla Builders Perth and also a mod of West Oz Miniatures Painters and part of the organising committee for the Iron Signet as well, which is our local all-encompassing painting competition.
So Instagram's the best place for people to sort of get hold of you if they need to reach out to you, and that's Perth Zaku Girl. That's all one word, PERTHZAKUGIRL.
Well done, Dave.
There you go. I can actually spell. So I suffer from a bit of
Dyslexia.
Yeah, dyslexia. So sometimes the English language is a bit of a challenge for me, which is a bit of a problem because I don't speak any other languages, but that's all right. Mars, sorry. Marissa, whereabouts can people find you and reach out to you if they want to get hold of you or just have a look at your work?
Instagram is my portfolio as well, same as Jody. So my Instagram is Wins Factor, so it's WINZ, and then just Factor, FACTOR. So don't ask me why I have that username. I made it when I was a teenager, and it kind of stuck, and no one has it. So I just keep using it. I'm also the editor of the ACTSMS. So that's the Canberra Scale Model Society. This is my second year as an editor.
Oh, okay.
I'm also part of the Indonesian Gundam scale model group. It's called Let's Crate. It's Jakarta-based. If you're Indonesian and you're listening to this, you probably already know. And I'm part of the Gundam Solo judging committee as well. So that's just a local, kind of like a local district Gundam club there as well. But now that I'm here in Australia, I just mostly give insights and kind of help with posters. I can't really go over there and assist with anything. But when I do go back home during some of the meetups, I'm usually there as well. So that's probably the best way to reach me. Or if you play Dota, I play Dota. If you see someone spamming Skyrough Mage position 5, that's most likely me. You cannot miss me. I have red wings. Please be nice to me.
That's right. And you also dabble in some paints as well. Zeracast Australia, is that the right pronunciation?
Zerk Australia is manned by another... they have their own staff, but I mainly use Zerk paints for Gunpla.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just like if you want to try Zerk, just reach out to me and I can just basically tell you where to get it from.
Right.
Because Jody recently just changed to Zerk as well, and I keep telling Jody, man, these paints are really good.
They are really good, yeah.
Well, Jody,
I have converted her.
Well, Jody, hopefully you might get across to Canberra in November so we can catch up with you face to face. But certainly, Marissa, we'll be seeing you face to face because we'll be at the Canberra show coming up in November, and look forward to catching up with you. I'd like to thank both of you for spending an inordinate amount of your Saturday morning talking to us. Indeed, it's in Saturday afternoon now, although it's very early in Western Australia, isn't it?
It is, yep.
Oh, that's okay. Next time you're over this way, you can have bacon and eggs before you come on the show. How's that sound?
Or maybe you guys can come over to Perth for our painting.
There you go. Well, I haven't been to Perth. So
We're planning to meet halfway.
Well, that's
we
Adelaide.
We can meet halfway at the Melbourne Expo.
Oh, well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's
and while you're in Melbourne...
telling Jody, next year, let's go to the Melbourne Expo next year.
And when you're
we can meet halfway.
Yeah, and when you're in Melbourne, you can pop in to see our good friend Daryl at Gundam Plus.
Yes. It's a good...
Yeah, I know Daryl.
Yep.
Yeah,
actually, a funny story about Daryl. He because I used to work in Metro in Melbourne.
Oh,
I was actually from Melbourne before in Canberra.
Yep.
I used to work in Metro, and that's how Daryl opened Gundam Plus. Is he would see me as Daryl. He would see me make Gundams at Ashburton Station. In front of the booking office window, I would make Gundam. And he will look at me like, oh, what are you making? Ask Daryl. That's how it all started. And then the thing is, I would go to Hearn's Hobbies after my shift because Metro employees get free travel. And I would just buy kits of Hearn's Hobbies. And then Daryl was like, you always come here often. I'm like, yeah, have you seen my Gundam at whatever station it is? And he would go to that station and check it out, and lo and behold, my Gundam is there on the window. That's how I poisoned him. You asked him.
Done.
It's true story.
Well done.
Yeah, no, Daryl's a great guy, and he's a great supporter of the modelling community, indeed even Gundam community, and he's the only sort of first shop that I know has opened up and called himself Gundam Plus. And he does a great service to the hobby here, certainly in Melbourne and indeed around the rest of the country. So
definitely,
it's really great. All right, well, thank you very much, Jody, and thank you very much, Marissa. Now, the last thing I've got to say to you is before we go is that if you've got any news in regards to any competitions or anything else you want us to talk about on the show, drop me an email. You got my email address on the bench64@gmail.com, and more than happy to promote and help you guys promote the hobby as well, whatever form that hobby is in, so long as it's putting plastic and paint on plastic or whatever, it's part of the hobby.
Yep,
we love it all.
Can I slip in a sneaky spruik for our
of course you can.
Competition?
Go for it.
So I'm part of a miniature community as well, but this is a painting competition called the Iron Signet that we run in October. It's the 8th of October, and it's an open competition, 3 categories: junior signet, intermediate iron born, and expert iron forged. Doesn't matter what you enter, as long as it's painted, it can be entered. So come on down, enter some models. We've also got workshops running on the day. I'm running a free Gunpla workshop. So if you want to come and try some Gunpla, come on down. It's in Kelmscott, I think, this year. Details are up on the website. There's an Iron Signet website on the Facebook page, and also the West Oz Miniature Painters Facebook page. And it's run in conjunction with Objectives Secured, who are running a Warhammer tournament on the day as well. So people can come down. It's free. It's free to enter and have a look around, and $5 per entry for model.
Fantastic, Judd. If you just send me an email with those links on it, and I'll make sure that we post them on our page as well to share them out.
No worries.
Terrific. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's
Jody.
been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you very
interview.
much, Marissa. And I said we look forward to catching up with you again soon. And don't be a stranger. Keep us in touch with what's happening in the world of Gundam.
No worries. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you for having me.
No worries.
No worries.
Whether you build aircraft, armour, ships, science fiction, cars or figures, the Fine Scale Modeller magazine provides the how-to information you need to take your modelling to the next level. In each issue of Fine Scale Modeller, you'll find clear how-to features on model assembly and finishing written by experts, reviews of the hottest model kits and products, tips and techniques for assembling, painting and finishing, as well as inspiring photos of readers' models. To find out how you can get your copy of Fine Scale Modeller, go to www.finescale.com.
Wow, that was one heck of an interview.
It was, wasn't it?
Talk about deep dive into the Gunpla world.
Yeah,
and
I learnt so much.
I did too, but what was really interesting was the, you got the, for want of a better word, straight out of the box unpainted category, if you're judging. Then you got the painted category,
and then you got the modified,
which doesn't include battle damage,
Mm-hmm.
and then the last category is
modified.
whatever you want. Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty interesting.
yeah.
And well, we're in Canberra this year, so I'm going to stick like glue to Marissa and actually see how she judges the.
Is she going to be judging that?
Yeah, she'll be judging. Well, I don't know. Well, whoever's judging,
Because remember, if you judge, typically you can't enter.
yeah.
So she might enter into some categories and then judge the others. So I don't know.
I'm going to find out because, and it's great to see the guys in Canberra taking on board, and the suggestions that Marissa made in regards to opening the category up.
Yeah.
I'm really keen to sort of see how it's judged and how it all works because it's the largest segment of the hobby, financially speaking, and I think
And
a
it's
lot
just
of other hobby
growing.
shows could. Well, it goes back to 1970 or 1980s, whatever it is, 1979, I think they said.
Yeah.
It just goes to show how much it's been sort of missed, and it needs to be sort of, they need to be not brought into the fold, but need to be.
Well, they are in the fold. It just needs to be recognised.
Yes, 100%.
So for too long, people look. I'll admit myself, when I first saw Gunpla and Gundam, I was like, meh.
I couldn't understand it either. But
No,
having
but-
built one,
Yeah.
I understand it.
And seeing the quality of work
Yeah.
at shows, it's like, these guys have got some mad skills, and it's a form of modelling. That's all it is. It's a form of it's. Some people build cars, some people build tanks, some people build aeroplanes. Well, why can't people build
some
sci-fi
people build
subjects?
Legos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, it's great. I was very, very impressed.
Yeah, I was too. And a great couple of girls as well.
They were fantastic to talk to.
Yep. Terrific. All right, well, that brings us up to the end. And, oh, my goodness, another long one, this one.
Yeah.
So,
One of the longest, I think.
well, getting that way anyway. Sign-offs.
All right. Adios, everybody. See you in 2 weeks.
No worries.
So yeah, I'm going to go home and get some sleep.
Well, before we do that, so next episode, we've got a fantastic episode coming up. We've got Lincoln Wright coming on, and we're also going to be talking to Scott Taylor from SMS. So
cool.
a couple of our good old mates coming back on the show to have
awesome.
a bit of a chat about paints, and Lincoln, no doubt, talking about his
New book.
which is very exciting.
I can't wait to get my fingers on one.
There we go. All right, guys, have a great time. We'll be back soon. Thanks for joining us on the show. And don't forget, there's a whole host of other fantastic model podcasts to listen to. Just go to https://modelpodcasts.com to find the full listing of all the other great shows to listen to. My name's Dave. Thanks very much for listening, and we'll be back in a fortnight.